my goodness gracious. Khamzat and Kamaru Usman, that was incredible. Both guys, incredible. And I want to talk about that fight because bottom line, I can't think of a time where I've ever been more impressed with both guys at the end of a fight. And not just in like not just how game they were, but in their, especially Kamaru, dude. I got to be honest, like especially Kamaru. And I want to talk about that first round, and then we'll talk about the rest of the fight and just in general, where does this leave each guy? Because Khamzat's going to get a title shot, obviously. Khamzat's going to get a title shot. And Kamaru, it's like, where does that leave Kamaru? I think that puts, I honestly, it's one of those fights where, yeah, Kamaru didn't get the decision, but I think it puts Kamaru right at the top of 185. Right at the top of 185, in my opinion. And I would be very interested to hear everybody's thoughts on this in the comments, and I promise I'm going to read them. But I wanted to get this down really fast. Like, we're in between fights right now. So, yeah, I wanted to just, while it's all fresh. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'm going to be in Cancun next week, so you got to suck up all the content right now because I'm going to be light on content next week. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't, and like this video and let me know what you think in the comments. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about that first round, because the way I interpreted that first round was, you basically have two guys to evaluate. And it's like, okay, obviously Khamzat's wrestling is absolutely out of this world, right? And one thing I wanted to say about Khamzat's wrestling also is that he was doing this trick. I'm going to have to go back and watch that fight and kind of slow it down, especially on the takedown that he got in the third round, where he does this thing where I'm not sure if I ever seen someone do it as well as him, where when he shoots for an ankle, it's like he's basically on all fours, and if he just gets his hands on the ankle, he comes up and basically circles his arm around their leg in this way. Now that's like, I know when I'm describing it verbally, it sounds like kind of like a common sense, but the way he does it is like, you have to get away from this guy. You need to be away from this guy. Nonetheless, I'm getting sidetracked. The first round, okay, Kamaru is in a survival defensive grappling situation from 4 minutes and like 40 seconds, right? Against a guy who we have seen absolutely smash everyone who he's gotten into that position and then ultimately submit them. I immediately after and Kamaru just stayed calm. He defended every single thing that Khamzat tried to do. Right after that round, my buddy Jojo's a black belt instructor at Brazilian Top Team, hit me up and he was like, bro, that first round. And I was like, honestly, I'm so impressed with Kamaru. He's like, that's why I was calling you. Because it's like, obviously Khamzat's, grappling is incredible. We knew that. But the mind to be able to settle in to that position for 4.5 minutes, knowing you're going to have to defend this for 4.5 minutes with this guy fresh on your back, and to successfully do that, and then to come out in the second round, and in my opinion, win the second round, is mind-blowing. 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 And if I imagine that anybody with a grappling background will have interpreted that exactly the same. People who don't train grappling might not really understand what you're talking about, but like, this is like, and you can ask anybody on the guys that I train with. I put myself I spend half my time sparring doing exactly that. Because there are so many guys, we have these insanely high level black belts at six blades, like world champions. And it's like, okay, so what am I going to work on when I roll with these guys? I'm not going to do anything. This guy's the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world in my age group and size. Black belt. What am I going to do? I'm going to work on, some kind of offensive, armbar transition. Yeah, right, dude. So I throw myself into danger, and I just do exactly what Kamaru does, where my goal is to not get submitted for as, if I can go 5 minutes without getting submitted, which I do, it helps that I don't have a neck, then I'm like, all right, like that was a good round. But for Kamaru to do that in that scenario with that guy on his back and then come out and win in the set, it's like, to stay that calm, it's just amazing, dude. Incredible, dude. And, I think, honestly, that, you want to know, like, what my prediction for that fight was I said, if Khamzat can't get Kamaru down, Kamaru is going to have a significant advantage on the feet. The fight broke down, basically exactly what I said. I was like, I think 60% Kamaru, and the big X factor is Khamzat going to be able to get Kamaru down, right? And so, as once he gets him down, it's like he's anybody. I mean, he's a better defensive grappler for sure, as he proved. But Khamzat, if he gets a guy down, but on the feet, I had that pegged exactly. Now, I was really impressed with Khamzat's power, man. His power is unbelievable, dude. Like with those kicks too, like that I don't, because I was thinking about the Gilbert Burns fight is really the only one where you got to see a significant amount of Khamzat's kicks. You know what I mean? Or I'm sorry, striking. And I don't remember him throwing a lot of body kicks or leg kicks or any of that. But that front, that kind of front ball push kick to the body of his is really good. Like he snaps it to where it's got a lot of heat on it. Same as Kamaru. Kamaru is exceptional at those also. But then those body kicks, dude. Khamzat's body kick is nasty. We all know he's got knockout power. But there is no question that Kamaru had, when they were on their feet, that was only like barely competitive. Like if they would have been on their feet the entire fight, Kamaru wins. So the way I scored the fight, 10-8 round one, and I'll defend that in a second. Then 10-9 Kamaru, and then the third round is just a total toss-up, It was just, Kamaru was clearly getting the better of him on the feet. I think that, clearly. Then Khamzat gets the takedown, doesn't really do a lot of damage, but he had a lot of control time. Then at the end, Kamaru escapes, and then they get to, more strike. I could see that last round going either way. If Khamzat would have finished the round on top of Kamaru, I don't, at that point, you got to just kind of be like, all right, it's clearly Khamzat's round. But it's, I'm not surprised at all that someone scored at 28-28, because that is, I can easily defend that score. The 10-8, I think that, I assume that people who don't think that was a 10-8 round would say that he didn't, it's not like Khamzat did a lot of damage, even though he was on his back. But he was attempting submissions the whole time. Kamaru had absolutely no offense whatsoever. Like I said, this is the most impressed I've ever been with anybody in a round. Now, if Kamaru would have come out and he would have just gotten tapped out in the second round, then that's I would have been like, wow, very impressive way to stay composed. That was champion. That guy is a champion, man. But not like I'm saying now, where it's like, dude, he stayed composed through all of that, did not get demoralized even a little bit, came out and won the second round. It's like, that's real champion performance stuff there. And it's his mind. He always talks about that. Kamaru has always said his mind is why he's a champion, and he proved that. So I guess the next thing to talk about is what comes next for these guys. I think it's obvious Khamzat is going to get a title shot against Sean Strickland, and I think that fight is extremely obvious in terms of fight breakdowns. Because if that fight's on the feet, obviously Strickland is going to have a tremendous, tremendous advantage. If Izzy's arsenal of strikes cannot get through Sean Strickland's defenses, look, Khamzat has a lot of power. He looks pretty good when he throws those 1-2s or whatever, but he does not have a complicated arsenal when it comes to striking, right? He's got knockout power, but very straightforward. When Strickland's kind of downloading what kinds of things he needs to defend against, you got about, you got 2 to 3 kicks total. You got, he's straight, or he kind of comes in with the hooks. There's nothing complicated there at all. The grappling though, what is there to say, dude? Khamzat is going to have a grappling advantage over everyone. It's hilarious that he just got his brown belt. I was just talking to Jojo about that too. It's like, oh, he just got his brown belt. Oh, Khamzat Chimaev's a brown belt, huh? And it's like, it's one of those things where it's legit, because jiu-jitsu is not about whether or not you can win in a fight on the ground. You know what I mean? When I came in as a white belt, I would smash the shit out of people. I wasted an entire year, literally an entire year, just like, you know, learning techniques kind of. And then I would just, when I would spar, I would just smash people, dude. Like I would just, and I'm like, all right, you know, where's my blue belt? I haven't lost a round to a white belt in 7 months. Like where, and it's like, okay, but that has nothing to do with anything, dude. You know what I mean? You're just strong and fast. You're not fucking good. You're not learning anything. And so it's kind of the same concept, except at the upper level where it's like, okay, so you can beat everyone, but you are not using, you know, well, I mean, he's lots of submissions, but I mean like the techniques that they want him to have to be considered a black belt level, that he's just still learning them. He would destroy basically everyone. Think about how he would do in, if he went into like an IBJJF, no-gi at brown belt, he'd win for sure. He would win for sure. You know, ADCC, I don't know. Maybe the leg lockers, you know, maybe the leg lock guys could give him problems, but I don't know, man. But anyway, so with Kamaru though, man, he is. I think you give him another top 5 85er next fight. He didn't even have a full camp, dude. Khamzat is the best guys. I mean, I'm sorry. Jesus, man. I'm sorry. This Islam and Volk fight is about to start. I mean, he didn't even have a full camp. Khamzat's the best guy in the division, probably him or Strickland. And Kamaru did that. And if it's a 5-round fight, imagine, dude. Imagine. Kamaru might win that. Kamaru might win that fight. If it's a 5-round fight, Kamaru might win that fight. I think he probably does, actually. If I really had to think about it, what do you think happens there if Kamaru, I mean, Kamaru easily could have won 4 and 5. Very, very impressive from both guys. I love this. I love this sport, man. I love it. Now I'm going to watch Islam and Volkanovski right now. Love you guys. Peace.